12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. Hierarchies are a prevalent aspect of societies across the globe, so gain an advantage by maintaining good posture. You might be familiar with the term pecking order, but have you ever wondered about its origin? The phrase traces back to a Norwegian zoologist who studied barnyard chickens in the 1920s. He observed a distinct hierarchy among these birds, with the healthiest and strongest ones pecking first when fed, while the weakest chickens pecked at leftover scraps. Such pecking orders are not exclusive to chickens. They are a natural phenomenon in the animal kingdom. Lobsters, whether in the wild or bred in captivity, engage in aggressive battles for the most favorable and secure shelter locations. Researchers have discovered that these competitive disputes have resulted in the winners and losers having different brain chemistry. The winners exhibit a higher serotonin to octopamine ratio, while the ratio in losers leans in the opposite direction. These hormonal levels can influence a lobster's posture. Higher serotonin levels lead to a winner's displaying increased agility and an upright stance, whereas elevated octopamine levels cause losers to become tense and curled. This distinction impacts future confrontations, as the upright lobsters appear larger and are more intimidating, prompting the tense ones to remain submissive. Unsurprisingly, similar hierarchies and circles of triumph and defeat also manifest among humans. Research indicates that individuals struggling with alcoholism or depression are less likely to engage in competitive situations, perpetuating inactivity and exacerbating low self-esteem and depression. On the other hand, those experiencing a winning streak often exhibit confident and assertive body language, which can contribute to maintaining their successful momentum. Just like lobsters, humans consistently assess and compare themselves to one another, associating a person's intelligence with their physical presence. Therefore, if you seek to gain an advantage in social or professional settings, adhere to the first rule. Keep your head held high and adopt the posture of a winner. Emulating such confidence can positively impact your interactions and contribute to your overall success. Treat yourself with the same kindness and care you would extend to a loved one. If your dog were ill and a veterinarian prescribed medication, you would not hesitate to fill the prescription, right? However, 1/3 of people disregard the medical prescriptions their doctors provide to them. This raises the question: why do we often take better care of our pets than we do ourselves? One possible explanation is that our awareness of our flaws can lead to feelings of self-loathing, which may result in unnecessary self-punishment and the belief that we are undeserving of happiness. Consequently, we may prioritize the well-being of others over our own. This belief in our unworthiness can be traced back to the biblical story of Adam and Eve's exile from the Garden of Eden. In this allegorical tale, Adam and Eve, representing all humans, succumb to the serpent's deceit and consume the forbidden fruit of knowledge, causing humanity to become forever tainted with wickedness. While the story of the Garden of Eden highlights our darker nature and may reinforce feelings of undeservedness, it can also be interpreted differently. Not only are humans imperfect, but the entire world is a complex blend of order and chaos. This duality is also evident in Eastern philosophy and embodied in the yin-yang symbol, which represents the interconnectedness of light and dark forces, each containing a portion of the other and neither able to exist without its counterpart. In this context, harmony is achieved by finding a healthy balance between light and dark, striving not to veer too far in either direction. For instance, if a parent attempts to shield their child from everything and anything bad, they would merely replace chaos with the tyranny of excessive order. In other words, striving for absolute goodness is futile. Care for yourself as you would a loved one. Nurture yourself, but don't resist chaos, as it is an unwinnable battle. Instead of merely pursuing happiness, strive to do what is best for your well-being. As a child, you may have resisted brushing your teeth or wearing mittens, yet these actions were necessary and beneficial. As an adult, it is crucial to identify the goals that shape your identity and the direction you want to pursue in life. In doing so, you will uncover the steps you should take and the actions that truly benefit you. The company you keep can significantly impact your life, so choose your friends prudently. Peterson recalls a childhood friend who never left their hometown of Fairview, Alberta, and eventually fell in with the town's misfits. Each time Peterson visited, the friend's slow and melancholic decline became increasingly evident, transforming youthful potential into growing resentment. It became clear that these misfits were dragging down Peterson's friend and hindering his progress in life, a situation that can happen to anyone, anywhere. A similar dynamic can occur in a workplace when a low-performing employee is placed within a team of high achievers. A manager may believe that the underperforming employee will adopt good habits from their peers. However, studies show that the opposite is more likely, with bad habits spreading and negativity affecting the entire team's performance. This is why the third rule is to surround yourself with supportive friends, as these relationships can foster positive change. Selecting your friends carefully is a wise decision, not selfish, not elitist. Supportive and uplifting friendships are mutually beneficial. When you need encouragement, your friends are there for you. And when they need assistance to recover from setbacks or to make improvements, you are there for them. This dynamic can promote individual success and, within a team context, lead to a significant collective achievement. When Peterson left Fairview for college, he joined a group of like-minded individuals who supported one another in their academic pursuits and various accomplishments, such as establishing a newspaper and managing a successful student union. You can recognize good friends by their refusal to let you wallow in negativity. They desire the best for you and will motivate you to overcome setbacks and stay on course. Nurturing such friendships fosters personal growth and success, while also enabling you to support others in their journey. By choosing your friends wisely and maintaining a supportive network, you can create a foundation for mutual improvement and long-lasting, meaningful relationships. Achieving progress involves measuring yourself against your past accomplishments rather than comparing yourself to others. In the past, one could be a big fish in a small pond, but the internet has transformed the concept of a small pond or community. Nowadays, we are all part of the global community, and there will always be someone better than us. This leads to the matter of self-criticism. It is vital to critique ourselves. If we did not, we would lack the drive to improve, leading to stagnation and unfulfilling lives. Fortunately, humans tend to view the present as inadequate and the future as promising. This mindset helps us stay motivated to advance and take action. However, self-criticism can become detrimental when it revolves around comparing ourselves to others, causing us to lose sight of our personal growth. First, this mindset leads to binary thinking, framing outcomes as absolute success or absolute failure, which prevents us from recognizing incremental yet crucial improvements. Comparisons also cause us to lose perspective by fixating on a single aspect of our lives and exaggerating its importance. For example, if you are reflecting on the past year and notice that you were not as productive at work as some other colleagues, you might immediately feel like a failure. However, considering all aspects of your life, you might discover significant improvements in, say, your familial relationships. Hence, the fourth rule is to avoid comparing yourselves to others and to assess yourself based on your previous accomplishments. Comparing your current results to past ones will keep you moving forward. Believing you are always winning can be a warning sign that you should take more risks and set more challenging goals for yourself. When evaluating your progress, think of yourself as a home inspector. This means examining every aspect of your life from top to bottom and categorizing any issues. Are they minor or major concerns? Before approving your progress, make a list of areas that need improvement. Adopting this detailed approach will likely keep you focused on your self-improvement so that you won't be preoccupied with how you are comparing to others. By measuring yourself against your own past achievements, you foster personal growth and maintain a healthier perspective on your journey to success. A parent's responsibility is to nurture a responsible and kind child. When observing parents disregarding a child causing chaos, you might wonder, are they neglectful parents? Or wisely letting the child exhaust themselves? Parenting approaches have evolved over time, often influenced by the long-standing nature versus nurture debate and varying opinions about our inherent instincts. In the 18th century, some philosophers popularized the belief that our prehistoric ancestors were innocent, gentle, and childlike. He attributed our history of war and violence to civilization's corrupting influences. However, today we understand that people are born with aggressive instincts and must learn to become kinder, gentler, and more civilized as they grow into adults. Just recall how cruel kids can be on the playground compared to how most adults behave. Peterson believes parents must guide their naturally aggressive children to become well-adjusted adults, leading to the fifth rule. Parents should not just be friends, but also raise responsible and likable individuals. This can be challenging, as nobody enjoys being the bad parent, the bad guy that's no fun. Children are aggressive because they instinctually test your limits as well as other children's limits. They want to know where society's boundaries are. That's how they learn. Thus, parents must be firm and decisive in establishing those boundaries. While it may seem daunting, consider this. If children do not learn from a loving, understanding parent, they will learn later in life through less compassionate means. Here are 3 essential strategies for effective parenting. 1. Limit the rules. Excessive rules frustrate children as they are continually encountering obstacles. Focus on a new, fundamental, easy-to-grasp principle, such as not biting, kicking, or hitting anyone unless in self-defense. 2. Apply the minimum necessary force. Effective and fair discipline requires clear consequences. The punishment should fit the crime, meaning it should not be as severe as needed, but as least severe as needed for the child to learn and to not break the rule again. Sometimes a disappointed look is all you need. Other times, a week without video games might do the trick. 3. Parent as a team. Children are clever and may attempt to manipulate one parent against the other, so presenting a unified front is crucial. Every parent makes mistakes, but with a supportive partner, you are more likely to identify and correct those errors. By adhering to these strategies, parents can foster a nurturing environment that guides their children towards becoming responsible, kind, and well-adjusted adults. Remember, the goal of parenting is not just to be a friend, but to raise individuals who contribute positively to society and maintain healthy relationships with others. The world is undeniably filled with challenges and suffering, but that does not mean we should blame others for our circumstances. Many people throughout history have viewed life as so unfair and cruel that drastic responses seem justified. One Russian author believed that life was so unjust that he proposed 4 valid responses: childlike ignorance, hedonistic pleasure, suicide, or persevering despite everything. In his essay, A Confession, Tolstoy concluded that suicide was the most honest response, while continuing to struggle indicated a weak ability to take appropriate action. Some individuals have tragically taken this notion further, engaging in murder-suicides like Sandy Hook or Columbine school shootings. As of June 2016, there had been 1,000 shootings in the United States within the previous 1,260 days, where someone killed 4 or more people and often took their own life as well. Despite Tolstoy's grim perspective, it is essential to avoid blaming the world, no matter how much we have suffered or how unjust life seems. The sixth rule for life encourages taking responsibility for our own lives before judging the world. A Russian author demonstrated that it is possible to reject life's cruelty, even when it targets us directly. He fought against the Nazis as a communist during World War II, but was later imprisoned by his own government. While serving his sentence in a Russian gulag, he discovered he had cancer. Yet, he refused to blame the world for his plight. He accepted his role in supporting the Communist Party that had imprisoned him and decided to use that time he had left to contribute something positive and meaningful to this world. Among his contributions was a book which provided a history and a scathing critique of the Soviet camps he experienced firsthand. The book played a significant role in extinguishing any remaining support for Stalin's brand of communism among intellectual circles worldwide. The lesson here is that despite the hardships and injustices we may face in life, we should strive to take responsibility for our actions and circumstances rather than blaming the world. It is through this mindset that we can overcome adversity and contribute positively to society. Embracing this approach not only allows us to grow and learn from our experiences, but also encourages personal resilience and determination. By taking charge of our lives and understanding that we have the power to shape our destinies, we can navigate the challenges of life with a greater sense of purpose and direction. Sacrifice can hold profound meaning, and we should prioritize seeking meaning over immediate pleasures. Consider the tale of the monkey who got trapped with his hand in the cookie jar. In the story, a cookie lay inside an open jar, and the opening was just large enough for the monkey's hand to enter, but not large enough for its fist to come back out while grasping the yummy treat. If the monkey insisted on holding on to the cookie, it would remain stuck. The lesson here is that greed comes at a cost. The monkey was captured because it refused to just let go of the cookie. How different is this from human behavior? How many people indulge in pleasures every day that may not serve their best interests? And how many are unwilling to make sacrifices that would benefit them in the long run? One consequence of viewing the world as a pit of despair is that it becomes particularly easy to justify a life based on immediate pleasures to make it more tolerable. If it brings us happiness, it can't be bad, right? This logic underlies binge eating and drinking, drug use, sexual excesses, and other self-destructive behaviors. On the other hand, there is sacrifice, the kind that fosters better outcomes in the future by relinquishing something in the present. This concept dates back to ancient times when tribes would store food to endure the winter or aid those in a community who could not hunt or farm. This theme is also prevalent in the Bible. When God expels Adam and Eve from paradise, it is made clear that their original sin is the reason for the harsh and cruel life that everyone must endure. However, our suffering in life is the sacrifice we must make to experience the joys of the afterlife. This leads us to the 7th rule: pursue meaningful goals over instant gratification. Now, you might think this is a straightforward concept and something most people would already practice. After all, we sacrifice our time to work and put in strenuous hours so that we can enjoy a vacation later or relax on the beach during the summer. However, this goes beyond sacrificing for personal gain. There are both large and small sacrifices we can make for the greater good. And the more significant the sacrifice, the more rewarding it can be. Consider the lotus flower as a metaphor. This plant begins its life at the bottom of a lake, and gradually it escapes the darkness until it breaks through the water's surface and blossoms in the sunlight. In other words, persistence and being willing to make sacrifices to achieve your goals is what will reward you long term. We should strive towards truth. The German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche believed that a person's spirit's strength could be measured by the amount of undiluted truth they could tolerate. Although truth is often valued in our culture, we frequently tell lies. One of the primary reasons for lying to ourselves and others is to obtain what we believe we want. Austrian psychologist Alfred Adler referred to these as life lies, characterized by things we do and say to transform an ill-conceived goal into reality. For instance, you might envision your retirement on a secluded Mexican beach, accompanied by an endless supply of margaritas. This goal can be so enticing that you continue deceiving yourself into believing it's attainable, even when circumstances increasingly render it improbable. You could even develop allergies to the sun, sand, and alcohol, but persist in lying to yourself about this perfect vision, even though it's genuinely not a plan, as you haven't identified any tangible steps that could make it a reality. Such delusions frequently coincide with our ability to convince ourselves that we already know everything we need to know. This mindset is particularly unwise as it stifles our innate desire to learn and grow. Yet, even more sinister outcomes can arise when living a life lie and refusing to acknowledge the truth. In John Milton's epic poem, Paradise Lost, Lucifer is depicted as a rational character who becomes overly proud and infatuated with his talents. As a result, he and his followers are banished from heaven for daring to challenge God's ultimate truth. This leads us to rule number 8. Stop lying and embrace truthfulness. You don't have to abandon all of your ambitious goals, but you should be adaptable so that your goals are realistic and align with the truth. As your understanding and worldview evolve, so too should your goals. If your life is off track, it might be time to question the current truth you are adhering to, the one that makes you feel weak, rejected, or worthless. Reevaluate and reaffirm your personal truth so that you can steer back onto the right path. Living truthfully allows for personal growth as well as the ability to recognize when we need to adjust our goals and expectations. By being honest with ourselves and others, we can foster healthier relationships and more accurately assess our progress towards meaningful objectives. Embracing truthfulness, even when it is uncomfortable, can ultimately lead to a more fulfilling and authentic life. Conversations provide opportunities for learning and growth rather than competition. Even thousands of years after his death, the ancient philosopher Socrates is still considered one of the wisest individuals who ever lived. His belief that the only certainty he had was that he knew nothing drove his conversations and eagerness to learn. Genuine conversations should resemble the process of thinking. When you think, you essentially listen to yourself as you explore different sides of an issue. This internal dialogue can be challenging as you need to accurately represent opposing perspectives while remaining objective in your conclusion. One primary reason people engage in conversations is to more easily present various sides of an issue and reach a better conclusion. Children do this as well. When one child suggests playing on a roof, their friend may point out the dangers of playing on a roof. The ensuing conversation allows the child who proposed the idea to consider the new perspective, now evaluate the risks, and hopefully make a better decision. Unfortunately, conversations often deviate from this ideal, from this purpose. Instead, one or both participants may refuse to listen and treat the dialogue as a competition they need to win in order to validate their preconceptions. Rather than genuinely hearing what the other person has to say, they focus on what to say next or to attempt to outdo each other. This is why the 9th rule emphasizes listening to others while presuming you have something to learn from them. A simple tip for becoming a better conversationalist is to listen attentively and then summarize or recap what the other person has said. This serves multiple purposes. It ensures that you have understood correctly while also helping you retain the information. Additionally, it reduces the likelihood of distorting or oversimplifying details to support your side of the conversation. At times, the truth can be painful, and it may be difficult to accept information that requires you to change your ideas and preconceptions. However, this is the price you pay as part of the beautiful process of learning and growing. Embracing the opportunity to listen, understand, and adapt during conversations will not only enrich your knowledge, but also foster deeper connections with others. So, approach conversations with an open mind and the willingness to learn, and you will find that they become far more rewarding and transformative experiences. Life is complex. Life is undoubtedly a vast and intricate tapestry, yet we often only focus on the isolated parts that directly affect us. For instance, when walking by and noticing an apple on the ground, we rarely consider the branch, tree, roots, and soil that contributed to that apple's existence. This is because our minds are naturally inclined to recognize and pay attention to the things that serve our needs or obstruct our paths. The apple catches our attention as a source of food and substance, while the tree and soil fade into the background as they do not directly satisfy our needs. Of course, it is impractical to be constantly aware of every detail, as the world's complexity would be very overwhelming. Our minds simplify things to help us navigate our lives more efficiently. However, occasionally, an event may disrupt our understanding of the world and plunge us into chaos. This is where Rule 10 becomes crucial. Employ precise language. How does this help? Consider the term car. You know a car is a vehicle that transports you from point A to point B. But when it breaks down en route, do you understand its intricacies? Can you open the hood and repair the complex machinery? Chances are, when your car breaks down, frustration may arise. And you may even curse or kick the car for not being so simple anymore. This is the result of confronting complexity and chaos. So to regain control, you must reestablish order by accurately and precisely identifying the issue at hand. The same principle applies when you fall ill. Numerous factors could contribute to your sickness, so you need to provide your doctor with specific symptoms. Is it a stomach ache or a fever? Did it start after eating something? What did you consume? By being precise, you can restore order and take steps towards recovery. Using precise language can also enhance your relationships. Does your partner do something that bothers you, like neglecting to clean up after themselves? The sooner you address the issue honestly and specifically, the smoother your life together will be. There are undoubtedly oppressive individuals, but we must be cautious not to suppress human nature. In George Orwell's The Road to Wigan Pier, the author concludes that socialism gained support in England not due to empathy for the miners' harsh conditions, but out of resentment towards the wealthy and powerful. Today, similar attitudes exist towards the male-dominated leadership known as the Patriarchy. One influential source of animosity towards the Patriarchy is Max Horkheimer of the Marxism-based Frankfurt School, a proponent of so-called critical theory. He believed that education and intellectualism should emphasize social change. Instead of empowering women, the focus should be on combating and dismantling the powerful oppressors in society, the ruling males. Similarly, in humanities courses worldwide today, the suggested political action involves dismantling our male-centric culture. The emphasis is on destruction rather than repair or creation, resulting in an excessively harsh and short-sighted outrage directed at male behavior. For instance, many male students regularly face hostile accusations of being part of the patriarchy. However, the path to positive change should not involve treating every man as a potential sex offender. While it is true that some men have behaved reprehensibly, men have also channeled their natural assertiveness for good, such as engaging in healthy competition, exploring perilous territories, and facilitating much-needed progress. This brings to mind skateboarders. At the University of Toronto campus, skilled skateboarders displayed remarkable fearlessness and a willingness to embrace danger. However, city officials eventually decided to ban skateboarding on campus. This leads us to rule number 11. Don't bother young people skateboarding. We shouldn't establish rules that contradict the very essence of our human nature. While our regulations should protect us, they must not suppress the positive qualities of individuals. A compelling fictional account of the consequences of stripping men of their masculinity can be found in Fight Club, where aggression becomes a forbidden fruit that manifests in fascist tendencies. In the real world, the resurgence of right-wing politics can be seen as a reaction to emasculation. The truth is, women do not want boys to grow up without the opportunity to learn for themselves and become independent men. It can be argued that every boy has a mother. And what kind of mother would want to care for a dependent man-child? Life is challenging and often filled with sorrow, making it all the more crucial to cherish the small joys that come our way. Caring for a sick person can be one of life's most daunting challenges. Peterson's daughter has been battling severe arthritis since she was 6 years old, enduring constant pain, frequent injections, and multiple joint replacement surgeries. Faced with such a situation, one might believe life is unjust. But it is vital to acknowledge that the darker moments of pain, suffering, and sadness are what give the bright moments their significance. Take Superman as an example. When the character was first introduced, he enjoyed immense popularity. However, as comic book writers continued to grant him more and more powers, he eventually became virtually invincible and consequently uninteresting to readers. Without any risk of danger, Superman's triumphs are empty. Similarly, our joyful moments would be devoid of meaning if we did not have to overcome hardships and adversity to experience them. That is why it is essential to follow Rule 12. Embrace and make the most of even the smallest joys life has to offer. By adhering to this rule, you will be sure to appreciate every positive aspect of life and find strength to persevere through challenging times, even when they seem never-ending. After years of suffering, Peterson's daughter found a new physiotherapist who helped her achieve greater mobility, a semblance of normalcy, and significantly less pain. Though further complications may arise in the future, they both choose to enjoy the improvements for as long as they can. Adopting this kind of attitude is crucial. It is the kind that encourages you to pause and pet a cat when you encounter one on the sidewalk. Remember, there is no day without darkness or night, just as there is no order without chaos. Suffering is an inevitable part of life, but it is also what gives meaning to our resilience and makes moments of peace and happiness all the more rewarding. This concludes 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson.